What's up, guys? Matt Brown here, Lines.com. Talk some Monday Night Football, Seahawks and the Giants. As always, if you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you're already here, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section how you're going to play this. Everything we do, absolutely free. So as we click over here, we can see, I'll go ahead and blend this for us so we can take a look at both. Anywhere from 1.5 to 2 points is where we're sitting right now in favor of the Seahawks. Total sitting anywhere 47 up to 47.5 over in New York. So Seattle will head and play in the, I say the Big Apple, it's actually in Jersey, but you get what I'm saying. Head over there to the East Coast to play this game. Full confession in this one, fellas. I was 100% ready to play the Giants in this game. I actually had this one circled as a game that I wanted to play the Giants. I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to get in on the Giants. And the reason I say this is because if you go in and there seems to be a sentiment right now that's a little bit low on the New York Football Giants. And, you know, look, actually, we'll pop over another screen here. We'll go to ESPN just to kind of look at the schedule and see what's going on, because I don't really get why people are so down on the Giants. I mean, I guess maybe in the fashion, like the nature that they have lost, maybe is the reason why people are looking at this. But if you came into this season, look, they're 1-2, as you probably thought they would be. They lost to Dallas. They were going to lose to Dallas. That was marked up. That was chalked up as a loss on your preseason predictions. They were going to beat Arizona. Now I get it. They had to have a Herculean comeback against the Arizona Cardinals, but they did, and you had that chalked up as a win. And then here we are as a loss to San Francisco. Yeah, they were always going to be 1-2 whenever we went into this game. Like that was where they were going to be. Now I get it. You don't want them to lose 40-0. You don't want to have to mount a comeback against the Cardinals, but again, the end result, it doesn't really matter. A win is a win is a win. A loss is a loss is a loss. It doesn't count more if you lose by more. It doesn't count less if you win by less. They're 1-2, and that's exactly where they were going to be no matter what in this game coming into Seattle. So I had this thing marked, and this was going to be the perfect bounce back spot where the sentiment of the Giants had been so incredibly low. Boom, we take advantage of that, and let's go ahead and get the bet in our account. And instead, the injury report came out. And I'll scroll down a little bit so you can read some of the preview over here. And instead, the injury report came out. And it looked like, since it was just an ankle sprain and they were saying that he's a super healer and all this stuff, it looked like Saquon Barkley had at least a coin flip chance of playing in this game. He's not going to play. Andrew Thomas, by far their best offensive lineman. Their offensive linemen are not good, at least so far through the early part of the season. Andrew Thomas looked like he was going to go. He was back out there at practice, all of that. So everything was leaning in the right direction that we were going to get him back at left tackle. And then instead, he's not going to go either. So now we have an offensive line for this Giants team. And it is a small sample size. Do not get me wrong. It is a small sample size. Evan Neal is 67th out of 68 graded tackles in football. The fill-in for Andrew Thomas, 59th out of 68 tackles that are graded so far this season. Center, 33rd out of 35 that are graded so far. Right guard, 61st out of 72. The offensive line is just completely in shambles, and Daniel Jones has no time to do anything. And even though we're getting a Seattle team that doesn't create just a massive amount of pressure, it's not that they're going to have to. They might not have to be really good at getting to the quarterback to be able to beat this offensive line. And so it changed it changed me. Actually, not to the point of where I wanted to pass, to actually to the point where I wanted to come in on the other side, come in on Seattle. Now, if you guys consumed any of my preseason content, any of the stuff that me or Steven or Adam, whoever here at the network, here at the Lines have done, you knew that I was pretty high on Seattle coming into the season. It did all revolve around Geno Smith. It did all revolve around whether Geno could replicate at least some of what we got out of him last year. Geno Smith overperformed last year. Struggled a little bit down the stretch, but by and large was pretty good. Well, so far this season, we are getting still that Geno Smith. PFF has him 12th overall in the league right now. And you added a weapon in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yeah, he hasn't really gotten in the groove quite yet. but he will, to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. The offensive line has been league average so far, which is good for Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about Seattle on the offensive side of the ball. Now, what you don't like is what's on the other side, which is the defensive side of the ball. But they do get Woolen back this week at corner. They do get Jamal Adams back at safety this week. So what has looked like an okay defense, because they're decent against the run and really bad in the secondary, now get two key pieces back in that secondary. And so is this Giants team equipped to take advantage anyway of a shaky secondary in the first place, but now they get two key elements back as it is? The total is interesting, sitting at 47. I originally put in an over ticket on this game that I'm not in love with. Again, it was correlated to the fact that I thought that the Giants would be much healthier in this game and then, therefore, again, produce more offense. Total might be a little suppressed because of the sentiment that this team wasn't any good on the offensive side of the ball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would still lean over if you wanted to get involved today. You definitely need the flat 47 in order to get involved. The Giants are still going to be able to move the ball on Seattle. How efficiently, that's where I'm a little hung up and why I'm not in love with the over anymore like I thought I was going to be heading into this game. Without Saquon, without your best blocker and without your best playmaker, it just changes what this team is going to be able to do. That said, the reason why I still lean over, and even after I've made this case for Seattle, I trust in this coaching staff. I trust in the long week for them in order to be able to kind of figure some stuff out. And I don't think Daniel Jones is a complete bum. Like, I think Daniel Jones, he certainly has playmaking ability. And I don't think he's completely garbage. And so I'll scroll a little bit further so you can continue to read along here. But I think they could do enough to get this towards the over. It's just one of those bets, like I said, you put it in your account, and then after it's been in there and the week plays out and all that, it doesn't blow my skirt up as much as it did whenever I first did that. So I like Seattle. Lean towards the over. From a prop side of things, guys, if you haven't taken advantage of the prop finder, you should definitely do that. Homepage, prop player tool right there. So without Saquon, Matt Breida is going to get the start. I don't necessarily like him just straight up rushing yards. Like I said, Seattle's pretty decent so far against the run, and we just talked about how shoddy this offensive line is going to be for the Giants. But if you look at the rushing and receiving combined, it's sitting at 65 yards. I think there could be just a lot of check down stuff, some design things to get the ball into Breida's hands. He is still a decent playmaker. He's no Saquon Barkley, but he is still a decent playmaker. And if you think that we can get 8 to 10 carries before they have to abandon the run, if he can average something decent, and then if we can get 3 catches, we can get to this number. I know that's a lot of if we can. There's a lot of assumption that's going on here. But the other part of this is if you're on the Giants side and you think the Giants are going to be competitive in this game, then Breida is going to be a decent part of that. Yeah, Brightwell is going to mix in. But Breida is going to be an important part of all of that. So I think there's a couple of paths to this getting home, right? Which is them being competitive, in which Breida has to be a pretty big cog in the success, and then also them getting down in this game, in which then he just catches a bunch of passes out of the backfield, and with that helps us get to this rushing receiving number. So I like it. It's not a huge edge. I only have it at 71. So if you want to pass on this one, I understand, but I do like the over. At least my numbers come in closer to 70, a little over 70 yards for him in this category. So that's where I'm going to go with that. And I said, I think there's a couple of different paths that we can get there with it as well. Outside of that, if we look at Geno's passing number, Geno is sitting at 248.5 right now. A few different places. I have Geno at 257, but that's in a pretty conservative game state for me because, again, I'm on the Seattle side. I think that Seattle does well in this game. So you could also say that there's an over possibility for Geno in this should the game go against even my game script, because if the Giants get ahead, then Geno has to throw a bunch more. And throw against a secondary for the Giants that's not any good. So there's, listen, in a game state that's not as conservative as I have it, it's another chance for this to get over. This is only a slight lean. I might put in quarter of a unit, something like that, on the over with Geno Smith and them. I think that this is a pretty decent opportunity for them to kind of continue to get right. I mean, this is a team that I think has the possibility, so long as the defensive side of the ball can kind of start to come around, that they can make at least a little bit of noise. And this is a pretty good statement game to do it, right? I mean, Monday Night Football, all eyes on this squad. What is this team waiting for Geno to pumpkin up? Because he's, everyone has this perception that he's not any good. And listen, I'm still not convinced that he's good per se. But with this roster, he might not have to be good. He might just only have to be league average, right? And so if we look around, this would be the chance to kind of get right here against a team like the Giants. If we look on, the advanced statistics, the Giants defense so far, certainly nothing that you're scared of. And certainly something that I think if we kind of look, and the Giants third worst in EPA per pass allowed so far on the season, Geno Smith could have some decent success through the air. So that's kind of where we're at with this one, guys. Again, at the lines, just go over here. That's the player prop tool. You can also get the Monday Night Football breakdown right there under the NFL tab. And up here in the right-hand corner, that is your Discord. So go ahead, hit that, join for free. We're talking about everything all day long, all things NFL. So please get in there and do that. Hit that subscribe button. And let us know in the comment section how you're going to bet this thing. Good luck on all your Monday Night Football bets.